To win the tournament. So let's see how he is gonna try. Pause champ. Pause champ. Pause champ. And we are off. So Hikaru with the white pieces against Fabiano. So it starts off as a queen's gambit decline with bishop e4. This is the Ragozin. Knight 6 the only move. And e3. So let's see. So queen c2. I had this actually in the recent World Cup against Sam Savian. Bishop d2. This is all Terry. So bishop f8 is the main move here. And then white has some options. a3 is a move. But let's see. Fabiano seems to be taking it back here. Bishop f8 is the main move. b6 played by Fabiano. Now white has some options. a3 makes some sense. Hikaru takes on d5. Bishop d3. Okay, but now maybe bishop g4 for black. Because, okay, bishop f8 played instead, threatening knight at b4, which is why a3 was played. Knight at e7. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so rook c1, but now c5. It feels like Hikaru is taking a few too many liberties in the opening. Because after this trade, maybe c4 and bishop f5 could be annoying. It feels like black should have some nice activity, and c5 by Fabiano is on the board. If you can, okay, so he takes. Okay, now you kind of should castle, I think. Castles looks very natural, and it's on the board. So c4 is a move, and bishop f5, so knight g6. Rook d1 looks natural, just bring the rook into the game. And we have an interesting position where black has the hanging pawns, which gives him some activity, but of course these pawns can also be a little weak. So rook d1 by Hikaru, he wants to move the bishop out of the way and put pressure on the pawn on d5. Rook c8. Alright, so let's see, knight e2. Wants to put the bishop on c3, hitting this knight. And if the knight comes to e4, maybe knight g3. Generally speaking here, piece trades would be good for Hikaru because the pawns only become weaker and weaker. And he's also up half a minute on the clock. So queen e6 by Fabiano. Let's see what Hikaru is going to do here. Bishop c3 will run into d4 because it takes your knight on e2 is hanging. Alright, knight g3, logical move. Let's go bishop c3 and make sure that the knight cannot hop to the e4 square. So let's see what Fabiano is going to do. Hikaru is always keeping the time advantage, knight e4 on the board. Okay, so if you take, I guess he wants to take with the pawn. That's why bishop c3 was played. Maybe he wants to take and go knight at d2. And he's also making sure that after this trade, the knight cannot hop to the e5 square. So trade. Feels like Fabiano should still be doing well, but Hikaru does keep that time advantage. Rook e8. He's defending these pawns over here nicely. Queen a5, maybe just queen b6. The queen trade should be completely fine for black, so Hikaru goes queen to d2. h6, making sure that the king always has a square over here. I don't know, I feel like Fabiano should be doing fine here. Rook c2, perhaps he's trying to double. Bishop c7, maybe bring this bishop out to the f6 square. Alright, queen c1, bishop f6. You can go b4, but black will go c4, so knight h5. Bishop e7. Let's see what Hikaru will try here. I mean, a move like h3 always makes it... Okay, so he goes for it. He goes b4. So now c4 by Fabiano. It is a protected passer, but the pawn on d5 can also become weak. Queen e6 by Fabiano. Okay. So let's see what Hikaru is going to do here. Queen c3 is threatening checkmate, so bishop f8. It's probably got to be played. And I'm starting to like Hikaru's position. Alright, rook d4. At some point I would like this. I would recommend the move h3. Make sure you never get back rank checkmated. But yeah, rook d4 on the board. Let's see what Fabiano is going to do. Fabiano might be looking at the move a5 to try to break up this pawn structure on the queen side. Queen f5, knight g3. Knight g3 looks like the only logical move. And the queen probably just has to go back. Okay, queen f6. You cannot take as that hangs your queen. e4 could be moved at some point to break up the pawns. But it goes queen c2 instead. Alright, so Hikaru is still up like 40 seconds. Queen e6. e4 is definitely a move, and he goes for it. Alright, maybe knight f4. Yeah, to defend this pawn over here. And I mean, if white takes and takes, it feels like black should have some sort of tactic with maybe knight e3. So let's see what Hikaru is going to do in this position. I mean, once again, this is a must-win game. He's up 30 seconds on the clock. What is he going to come up with here? Alright. Hikaru taking his time here. Still up. He's up 10 seconds. He was up more time. Okay, so queen d2, but this does allow knight to d3. It feels like Fabi might be taking over here. I mean, queen a6 could be a move, hitting this pawn over here. Queen c3, maybe just takes, I don't know. Take this. Knight on d3 is always going to be super annoying. Queen b6, hitting the pawn on f2. Rook f1 for that reason, played by Hikaru. Alright, how can Fabiano try to increase the pressure here? I think if he wins this game, he's looking really good to win this title Tuesday. Okay, queen c6, hitting the... Okay, he's not hitting the rook, he's defending this pawn. Rook g4, maybe Hikaru's trying to cook up some tricks with knight coming to h5. Alright, well, let's see what Fabiano's going to do. Maybe g6. Yeah, g6, nice move, preparing bishop g7. And it feels like Hikaru doesn't really have any tricks here. Let's see what he's going to do. I mean, if bishop g7 comes, black king is perfectly safe. This pawn is going to be super strong. Knight h5, threatening knight f6, rook to d6 by Fabiano, stopping the knight jump. Okay, knight at d2. Okay, he wants knight e4, hitting this rook and really start jumping with the knights. This is going to get super tricky. And 38 seconds for Fabiano. What move is he going to come up with? Maybe, I mean, rook e8 hangs this. Also keep in mind, white is hitting the pawn on c4. All of a sudden, everything is starting to look super, super tricky. Let's see what Fabiano is going to come up with. 25 seconds. 20 seconds. You got, okay, queen d7 hitting, but knight e4. Okay, if you take the rook, knight f6, you lose the game. Wait, what does black even play here? Knight f6 is a huge threat. They would just win the queen pretty much. So, rook c6 by Fabiano, but now he's losing the exchange. Hikaru, okay, he takes on d6. Recapture by Fabiano. You cannot take his that hangs your knight. Still some problems for Hikaru. He has 40. Okay, h3, nice move defending the rook. Maybe wants to take here with the queen. And, or actually, knight f6, queen e6 by Fabiano. Maybe bring the knight back. Knight f4, good move. Take bishop g7 maybe. Queen f5. Still game. Knight, okay, takes on d3. And now this pass over here is going to be quite strong. h5. King h7, bishop h6 maybe. Gotta go for it. King h7. 3 seconds. Rook f3. Rook e1 maybe. Rook d1. And yeah, this is going to be one for Hikaru. The pawn on d3 is lost. And with that, that should be the game. Rook e3. And yes, Hikaru does beat Fabiano. So he does tie up the standings. So Hikaru moves to 7 out of 7. Fabiano loses game. Was